Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaura Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamash Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter 16, text number 7. Chapter is called Praise of King Prithu by the Professional Reciters. Titikshati akramam vainya. Titikshati akramam vainya. Upari akramatam api. Upari akramatam api. Bhutanam karunach shashvat. Bhutanam karunach shashvat. Artanam kshiti vrittiman. Artanam kshiti vrittiman. Just a small detail in pronunciation. When there is a dot under S, then you put the tongue down. You pronounce it like sh, titik shati. And when there is a dot above S, like in the word, then you put the tongue up, shashvat, like that word, shashvat. You understand? Yeah, so you can try now. And it's also good to keep the long or short vowels. Yeah, you can chant. Ladies. Titikshati tolerates. Akramam offense. Vainyaha, the son of King Vena. Upari, on his head. Akramatam, of those who are trampling. Api, also. Bhutanam, to all living entities. Karunaha, very kind-hearted. Shashvat, always. Artanam, to the aggrieved. Kshiti vrittiman, accepting the profession of the earth. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The King Prithu will be very, very kind to all citizens. Even though a poor person may trample over the king's head by violating the rules and regulations, the king, out of his causeless mercy, will be forgetful and forgiving. As a protector of the world, he will be as tolerant as the earth itself. Purport. King Prithu is herein compared to the earthly planet as far as his tolerance is concerned. Although the earth is always trampled upon by man and animals, it still gives food to them by producing grains, fruits, and vegetables. As an ideal king, Maharaj Prithu is compared to the earthly planet, for even though some citizens might violate the rules and regulations of the state, he would still be tolerant and maintain them with fruits and grains. In other words, it is the duty of the king to look after the comforts of the citizens, even at the cost of his own personal convenience. This is not the case, however, in Kali Yuga, for in Kali Yuga, the kings and the heads of state enjoy life at the cost of taxes exacted from the citizens. Such unfair taxation makes the people dishonest, and the people try to hide their income in so many ways. Eventually, the state will not be able to collect taxes and consequently will not be able to meet its huge military and administrative expenses. Everything will collapse and there will be chaos and disturbance all over the state. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Gdananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Radati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Shcha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, good morning everyone. I was asked to give this class today, so I'm grateful to be able to serve you in this way. And this is a explanation. It's actually prayers by the professional reciters to King Prithu. And King Prithu is a partial expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it is well known fact that the king is the representative of God. And in this case, he is God directly, just partial incarnation of God. So we can say a very powerful king, very powerful Kshatriya. Kshatriya means somebody who protects from being hurt. And here in this verse, this one quality, very important quality of a devotee or a king or any authority is described as tolerance. To be able to tolerate somebody's misbehavior or somebody's offenses, this is one of the biggest treasures or qualities of a devotee of a Vaishnava. And we can also see it in the example of Jesus Christ, who suffered on the cross for the sins of others, the sins of humanity, as the Christians would say, and he would still tolerate it, and he would forgive. So tolerance is also based on forgiving, and we can say this forgiving is the highest quality one can possess. Especially if somebody is trying to kill you or hurt you, and you tolerate it and you forgive it. So in this case of Maharaj Prithu, the example of earth is given. Like, do you remember this example from the purport? Yeah, like people walk and jump on earth all the time, all living entities, and yet the earth still forgives them and provides them with supplies of food and water and other necessities for a material life. So in the same way, Maharaj Prithu also was tolerating, like Mother Earth. He would take that burden of the misbehavior of the citizens and he would forgive them, not to punish them if it wasn't necessary. If the offense would be like a childish, ignorant offense, there will be no punishment. But of course, if it would be like a severe offense, conscious by his enemies or by some criminals, then of course it is the duty of the king to punish them. So that law book of mankind that describes different type of laws and punishments for breaking these laws is called, do you know the name of this book? Manu Samhita or Manu Smriti. Smriti means it's based on the Shruti, but it's the remembrance of the great sages. And do you know the origin of this knowledge? Manu Smriti. Vaivasvata Manu and Yeah, there's like a parampara in that book. Also, I think comes from Brahma to Prajapatis to Manu. Manu is the original king on the planet Earth, and this Manu Smriti law book for mankind was given by God to Brahma and then to other living beings in the universe, and it came to us, and it should give us the guidance how to run the state properly. You know, it's not an ordinary book that you just read to entertain yourself. This is a serious book, and this Manu Smriti or Manu Samhita was still used till the 19th or 20th century in India as a law book. The British government would use it for the Indians to rule. So you can't say this is like some ancient knowledge. It's not applicable in today's life. You can still use it because it's based on the eternal principles of how the universe works. And the laws of the universe are established by God. And if we try to break them or if we neglect them, then we will suffer the consequences. So for that, Maharaj Prithu, he would teach people by his own example how to follow the rules of the world and how to be prosperous, because he would collect the taxes from the citizens, but in an honest way. What means, according to Manu Smriti, the king can collect only maximum, how much taxes he can collect? 25%, not more than that. Some countries, I heard in Scandinavia, the government collects like 50%.
In my country as well, almost 50%. So.
Yeah, so this is basically cheating. It's stealing from people more than the government's supposed to take. 25% is maximum in the good times. If the business is going good, if the economy is running well, then that's the maximum they can collect. Of course, if the economy is down and the business of the people is not good, then they have to collect less. They have to always consider this, the state of the economy. And then these taxes are not just meant to enjoy life at the cost of the citizens, like nowadays is being done in Kali Yuga, but it's actually for time in need, or when there is scarcity of food, or there is some war, or there is some disaster, then this money is supposed to be used to recover the loss and to help the citizens to live normally and to recover their, for example, if they lose their property, then to help them to build a new house or build new roads or new temples, churches, palaces, and so on. They're required to run the state properly. In some countries, it's still being done even today, like in Bhutan. Bhutan is a Buddhistic monarchy kingdom in Himalayas, run by a king. And this king, he has a duty, if somebody loses his house due to some earthquake, then still has to rebuild the house for the person. So basically there are no homeless people in Bhutan. They say it's one of the most happiest countries in the world because their people don't have to work hard as slaves to maintain their material life. And some other countries, like, for example, in Egypt, there's the highest rate of homelessness in the world. I think it's around 10 million people living on the streets without proper housing. It's really terrible. Can you imagine? Like, even in California, so many people live on the streets and they don't have proper shelter, proper food, proper necessities for basic life. So we can say this is exploitation of the taxes, and taxes are used to make weapons for huge military and administrative expenses. Like the USA has the highest expenses for military, and now the Poland is going to overcome. It's such a stupid idea. It will not bring any security, safety, or prosperity for the country, but I think it's necessary to make war, not to bring harmony. Because this nowadays economy, it's mostly based on fear. Fear of losing your freedom, fear of losing your property, fear of losing your job, fear of losing your family. It's based on fear, and this military army, it's meant to maintain this fear. As by psychology, they found the fear is the greatest weapon to control humanity, or to control people, to create fear of war with Russia, or fear of some pandemia of COVID-19, or fear of the aliens, or fear of something. They always find something new, It's amazing, isn't it? Like, when we think that it's all running smooth, then something comes up and the fear immediately arises, and it's spread by the media like wildfire. And then we get influenced by that. And by that fear, people, they submit to the government. Even they know the government is not good, and the government is exploiting them by the taxing and so on. Basically, these taxes are supposed to be paid by which class of people? By the Vaishyas, yeah. Those who make the money, they should pay the taxes. Like ordinary people, if they can hardly survive, why should they pay taxes on everything? Basically, nowadays you have to pay taxes on everything, on food, on water, on electricity, on your housing. Even when you die, you have to still pay taxes. Like my brother died, he still had to pay taxes. Can you imagine, It's like they don't give you even a free peace of mind even after you die. This rest in peace, it's not anymore, You have to, when you lie in the grave, you have to think about the taxes, who will pay for it. It's, of course the soul is gone, it's just the body dies. The soul is eternal, it's a joke. But it's like that, Even after that, you have to pay taxes. So there are two things sure, as Srila Prabhupada would say in this world: the death and the taxes. The taxes are sure as that. I heard one lecture in Radhadesh. Prabhupada says, death is as sure as death. Yeah. But for us, we have the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a Mahamantra. That's our insurance. It's the best insurance company you can have. It's your japa bead bag and the Mahamantra from your Gurudev, and then this will save your life, both material and spiritual, if you do japa every day. Even the government is not so good. So it's amazing because Srila Prabhupada makes some prophecy here. He says, everything will collapse and there will be chaos and disturbance all over the state. So once Srila Prabhupada was walking in New York and Manhattan, and he saw there are these two twin towers. That time those the tallest buildings in the world. And somebody, one of his disciples said to Srila Prabhupada, these are the tallest buildings in the world. And he said, one day they will be the lowest. And they are actually no more anymore. They collapsed. So Srila Prabhupada, he could see the future. It was Trikalagna, means person who can see past, present, and future. And he made some predictions. And he wanted devotees to establish Varna ashram system within their society and also in the society in general. For that to use this knowledge of the Vedas and also Manusmriti. This Manusmriti which we have, it's for Kali Yuga, for this age. And he talks about it in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that this book is for the leaders of the society to use it in general, to bring prosperity in the state. And Srila Prabhupada wanted devotees to establish the Vrindavan villages. What is Vrindavan village? Cows, there should be the base of the economy. Cows are not just, to protect, but they're also to be used in a proper way to produce food. How do you produce food with the cows?
They eat the grass and then they give us nutritious milk.
They eat grass and?
Give us nutritious milk.
And give nutritious milk, that's one thing. Another thing?
You can use the bulls for using the bulls for agriculture.
Using the bulls for agriculture, that's a very good point, because the bulls are considered like the fathers and the cows are considered like the mothers of the humanity. Like they say, a human being has 7 mothers. The cow is one of the mothers of a human being, Gomata. Mata means mother. Yeah. So the cows, they give us milk, which is the most nutritious food. After mother's milk, it's on the 2nd place. The 1st place is the mother's milk. And also the bulls, they help to plow the fields. And what else? We have the Panchagavya, right?
They fertilize everything. I mean, all parts of the cow, it is dead or alive, it is worth the same.
Yeah, all parts of the cow's body and the produce is beneficial. So we can use the cow dung and cow urine as a fertilizer.
Also medicine.
Also as a medicine. But we are talking about the food now. The fertilizer is very powerful to produce nutritious food. Nowadays it's a very big problem. There are being studies done, some analysis of the food that we have and that we had like 50 years ago or 30 years ago, and actually it's quite alarming because the amount of minerals and vitamins went down by more than 60% in over like 30 or 50 years. Can you imagine? It's going so down so quickly. So there's no surprise that people are getting more and more sick because the food is losing its nutrition and the body needs minerals, the body needs vitamins to be healthy, to work in harmony. So for that we have the knowledge of Ayurveda, how to keep the body healthy. And now is the season of the spring starting. Is Vasanta Ritu. This is the season of Kapha dosha, the mucus. It's the time when the mucus is on the maximum in the body, so it's good to avoid mucus creating foods like milk products, especially yogurt and butter, and also like sweets. It's good to cut on sweets and like cold food, especially cold water. It's all increasing mucus. So to maintain the good health, it's good to follow these rules of Ayurveda also. This knowledge is meant to help us. It's not meant to, regulate our sense enjoyment. Some people would feel like this is actually, it's restricting my happiness, you know. Why do you say I have to stop eating bacon or sausage or this, you know? It's the best, you know, but that's how people think, you know. When you tell them, please don't eat this, It's not good for you. You have high cholesterol, you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes. Please don't eat these sweets. They say, oh, you're so bad. You stop me. You restrict me. Eating the best. For them, this is like a goal of life, you know. And but actually, Ayurveda is meant to help us. And if you do know how to cook properly according to these principles, then the food is even more tasty. It's even more enjoyable and beneficial than what is like the normal diet in today modern society. So it's actually not restriction, it's actually improvement in one sense. It's much more improvement in the diet and the taste and enjoyment. Because how much you can enjoy if your body is sick? Not much. So even from material point of view, it's good to follow the Vedas and the Vedic knowledge. And the Vrindavan village, yeah, it should be based on agriculture, cow protection. That is the duty of the Vaishyas. Goraksha Krishi. Goraksha means to protect the cows. They shouldn't be killed. Even if they get older and don't give milk, they should still be on the fields, fertilizing the fields, the ground, because the soil is losing its nutrition. It's a big problem in India nowadays. The nutrition of the soil went so down, it's like in extreme low quantities. And they found some palm leaves, some records from like 16th, 17th century, how much they produce in 1 hectare of field. 1 hectare is like 10,000 square meters, 1,000 by 1,000 meters. They produced around 10 to 12 tons of rice, like 300 or 400 years ago. And if they compare it nowadays, they do like 2 or 3 tons per this piece of land. And even like the countries like Japan or USA with their we can say most advanced technologies in agriculture, they can still produce only maximum like 5 to 6 tons of rice. So 300 years ago they produced twice the amount with this natural technology of bulls plowing the fields. They could produce 2 times more than nowadays. And the quality at that time would be much better, much higher than nowadays. So this natural Vedic technology just works. There's no need to improve it because it's perfect in itself. It's part of Krishna's creation, God's creation, and it's perfect on itself. Why do we want to improve it? Unless we think there is no God, and then we have the right to make the world better, but actually trying to do that, we actually make it worse. So there's a saying that it was better when it was worse. Yeah, it's like that, you know. And it's becoming more and more problem nowadays. The desert is spreading in the world. The land is getting infertile. There was a study. I listened to it. It's like an official statement of different governments and big scientists and even the United Nations. The desert is spreading in the world. The food is getting more scarce. They're like, I think every 1/5 person on this planet doesn't have proper food or proper water to drink, and it's increasing every year. So there's a great need for this Vrindavan village system of life, producing your own food or supporting like the local agriculture and permacultural farms is very much needed, and it will be even more and more. We live in Europe, and Europe there is like overproduction of food, and there's we can say wastage of food. So we live in such a opulent times, you can say. But if you go some other places like Africa or Asia, you see people don't have so much food. It's becoming more and more trouble for the humanity. So Maharaj Prithu is actually showing by his own example how to rule the government and how to concentrate on what is important, what is needed. It's called artha. What does it, artha and anartha means? Artha means beneficial, also what is needed. You need it, like what do you need for life? You need food, also shelter, you need clothes, you need perfume, some jewelry. That's from material point of view. You know, for the woman, they need children, they need protection, they need cosmetics and so on. Jewelry, they need some holidays. It's like part of material life. These things are needed and are called artha. And the anartha is what is not needed, what is unnecessary. And a huge part of the modern economy is based on this anartha, what is unnecessary, but it's creating the false sense of happiness. It's illusion, it's called Ananda Brahma, illusion, that we think we'll be happy if we watch this television show, or if we play this game, or if we buy this something, diamond ring, or if we go to some special holiday, like to Bora Bora, for example, you know. It's like an illusion. The real happiness is in the soul. It's called Ananda. It can be achieved only when the soul is awakened. And the soul can be awakened by chanting the Maha Mantra, because Maha Mantra is this transcendental sound that awakes the spiritual consciousness of the soul. So if you chant, you can go anywhere. You can go into Bora Bora, and you can go to Africa, wherever you want to go. It will not affect you much. If you have that spiritual consciousness of bhava or prema, bhakti, then you can walk in the whole universe like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He would lock himself in his bhajan kutir, not to be disturbed, because how many children he got? Like 10 or something, 11 maybe. I get 2 wives and like 10 or 11 children. I think so, maybe. I don't know exactly the numbers, but can you imagine you have such a big family? You have very responsible job. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was like the governor of the Bengal. It was the highest position Indian person could get at that time of the Swaraj, the British rule in India. And you want to chant your japa, it's not easy, you know. The children are running around, there's always something happening, you know, something happens. So he would lock himself in this like a closet, like a bhajan kutir, and he would just, you know, chant like early morning, and he would just travel all over the universe, and his subtle body would just go and for japa walk, you know, go like some play like heavenly planets. Brahma and Shiva, they're arguing like about some philosophical topic, and they couldn't find the conclusion. So they told, let's ask Vaishnav, you know. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is just walking around chanting his japa, and they ask him, and he gives them the answer. So they're like satisfied, and he just walks away, just chants your japa, you know. It's like that, you know. Oh yeah, if you are like a Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you have spiritual consciousness, you can just chant your japa anywhere. Like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he would stay in the toilets and chant his japa in the toilets, not to be disturbed by the materialists coming to ask for blessings. For him it was a disturbance, so he would just be in the toilet. Only the serious people would come to get his association. So it's like that. Grietako, Vanetako, wherever you are in the forest, or in the at a grihasta house, or in the toilet, or in the heavenly planets, doesn't matter. You chant your japa and you will not be affected. Even when there is a war, if there is a COVID-19 or COVID-20, I don't know how many, or something else they will come up with, then we will not be affected so much. Of course, from material point of view, there is always some affection, but what is important, the consciousness shouldn't be affected. So Maharaj Prithu is such a powerful king that he would even call for the rain to fall. If there would be a drought, they would just arrange it himself. He wouldn't have to ask King Indra, because he's like partial God himself, so he can do these things. And he can also manipulate the reality the way it will be beneficial for everybody. So that was Srila Prabhupada's desire, to establish Vrindavan villages, to live a simple life, yet maintain high thinking, and for that Varnashram college is required. Varnashram college. Education is supposed to be like educational institution. It's not just a society to collect donations and build temples. That's also important, of course, but education should be the priority. That's why Srila Prabhupada established book distribution, and he translated and wrote so many books for this purpose. And these books are supposed to be the law books of the humanity for the next 10,000 years of this Gaura Yuga, the golden age. The 500 years have already passed, so we still have like 9,500 years to use it properly for our own benefit, also for the benefit of the humanity. Do you have any questions or comments to this?
You mentioned that forgiveness is the greatest treasure, and here we hear the example of the king who was patient with his subordinates, but there's also a great need to be patient with seniors.
To?
Be patient with one's seniors.
To get?
With the seniors, to be patient.
Patient with the seniors, yeah.
Seniors, I mean those who are not naturally above us, like only the and sometimes by some fate we have some senior and he somehow he is put in that position by the Lord, and we have that situation, but we may feel sometimes that it's unjust or that we struggle, we suffer from that relationship. So what is the proper position in that relationship, and also how to attain that proper consciousness, proper positioning, proper disposition in that relation, and ability to tolerate. Not like a sheep who cannot do anything anyway, but with integrity, with inner strength.
Yeah, so the question is how to tolerate the injustice from some senior person in a position, how to rectify it, or how to maintain the relationship. Yeah, that's actually the Vedic or the Vaishnava culture. It's like, what is Vaishnava culture? Like, if you think about it, is it really like wearing like a sport jumper, or is it better to have like some kurta and some chadar, you know? What is the Vaishnava culture? It's not just some imagination, it's also A Vaishnava culture means the practical application of the Vedic knowledge in the daily life. What you do during your day, how you dress, how you behave, how you maintain yourself, is everything should be based on the Vedas, and also the relationships are very important. And sometimes if we have some problem with somebody who's a senior position and we feel injustice being done, then we have to approach another authority to rectify the situation, to do it in a proper way, not to offend the senior person, and to maintain the relationship. Because Vedic culture, Vaishnava culture is based on relationships. To forgive, to tolerate, and to accept things in a humble state of mind. Like we can see from the example of Pandavas, they always wanted to make peace with the Kauravas, isn't it? Not just because they're their cousin brothers, but because they were Vaishnavas and they wanted to maintain this Vedic culture and relationships in a proper, humble state of mind. But of course there are times when the offense was so severe, like when Draupadi was offended, and such a severe offense that destroyed the whole Kaurava race. Everybody was destroyed. And at that time there was no position for being humble. Like Bhima, he took this vow, he will drink the blood of Dushashan. And Draupadi, she also took that vow that she would wash her hair with that blood. It's quite severe, isn't it? You may not say it's very humble, like Trinarapi Sunichena Tararapi Seishanuna, you know. It's very severe. But the situation required it, you know. And Krishna, he was the last person to beg for peace. But the Kauravas, they just refused. And they wanted to even kidnap Krishna, which is also quite an offense. Imagine the messenger comes and you try to kidnap him or hurt him. It's a big disgrace. It's a big offense for the opposing party, because they ask for peace and then you're like showing that you're not interested at all and you want to even hurt or kidnap the messenger of peace. It's like, then the war is the last option. But regarding the question, shouldn't be the first option. There's in diplomacy you have the Sama, Dana, Beda, and Danda, the 4 principles of diplomacy. You know these 4? Sama means sweet words. Somebody does something bad, then you try to rectify it with sweet words. The sweet talk, you know, it sounds good for the brain, for the mind, for the heart. Like you even though you have to suppress your anger, you try to use nice words to rectify this dangerous situation. If it doesn't work, you use dana, means you give some gifts, bribery to rectify. If it doesn't work, then you have to use the alliance to break this person, or then the danda, which is the stick. That's the last option, the war. So we have some problem with somebody, then we can use this sama and dana, sweet words and some gifts to rectify it. And then if it doesn't work, we can ask somebody to help us with this beda or danda to rectify the situation, you know, in like a proper way, not to break the relationship. But of course, for kings, it's very hard to tolerate, because they have this passion, this Rajaguna, very strong in them. They have the strongest Rajaguna from all the Varnas. It's very difficult to tolerate. Like Bhima, he always got this problem to tolerate. You know, he was always suppressing his anger. He's like, after this offense of Draupadi, he's suppressing this anger for how many, 14 years in the forest. He's suppressing it, and then this Kurukshetra war, he finally could release his anger. And sometimes you have to use the anger also to deal with the atheists. Like on the street, Some people, they really act like demons or atheists. Not everybody, but it's very special occasion, and something happens like then you can release your anger. Not like you beat the person. I mean, that's also required sometimes. Like one devotee in Slovakia is distributing books on a parking lot and marketplace, and the homeless people got so envious of him because he's collecting so much money from the people. People are taking books. He distributes like 100 books, and they got so envious. So they pinch the tires on his car, They just pinch it because they see his car is going there for books, and he knows that. He saws that. So he comes and he beats the homeless person, There's no time for diplomacy. It's over, He did something really bad. Just punched him. Like, why did you do that? Bang. And for that person, it's like a purification. Then maybe he will wake up and get the mercy, got the touch by the lotus hand of a devotee. In his next life, it will be like beneficial for him. So that's also required, but it's not the first option to solve some situation like that. But that anger can be used to rectify the atheists. That's the proper way how to use anger in their service of Krishna. Do you have some other comments or questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for the very relevant class, at least for me. I guess as soon one takes some responsibility in whatever field, one becomes like a target in the same time. And we always see, especially nowadays, and your lecture was also a little bit like this, we see how the people, the citizens, has to tolerate the whimsical behavior of the leaders, what is true, but coming in, some kind of responsibility. And you spoke in the end about this. One sees also what one has to tolerate in that sense. What sometimes, as soon you become temple president or whatever, everybody is against you. You were the nicest guy in the world, but if you become temple president or take anything, then everybody looks for faults in you, And so I think even this is also true in our ISKCON society, or the society of devotees, where we try to be actually mature and, as you say, keep relationships in Vrindavan villages. But one has to, for myself, remind that sometimes we have to understand that citizens are come in the energy of Prakriti. And if one takes this Purusha role, one has to, I don't know how much insults God has to take, 99 from Shishupal, but every day probably, he is cursed so many times by why you don't do the, whatever, and still he maintains some kind of providing, loving relationship to this people. So it was just a side note. It was a very nice class. Maybe one point what he said about Manu Smrita. How is it really relevant? I mean, if it's a very controversial book, or topic about, but how is it really relevant? Because when Muslim people take to the Sharia, we are a little bit concerned. But Manu Smrita also sometimes has points where we say, well, that would be quite hard.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Very good question. Thank you for that. How is it relevant? I asked this some questions about Manusmriti. One scholar, devotee, who's teaching in some Oxford University, and he said it's based on jati, on birth, and the Indian society was run by this book for centuries, for millennia, up till the modern times, and it was the most prosperous country in the whole world, with the highest GDP, how do you call it, GDP? The highest economical development in the whole world. Everybody wanted to go to India, Alexander the Great, the Moguls, and even Christoph Columbus, he wanted to go to India, because it's the richest country, because of their following the system. Well, we can say it's a caste system, of course, based on jati, on birth, but we can use it. We can use this system not based on jati, but based on the Vaishnav culture, and we can adjust, of course, some of the strict laws based on this tolerance principle. But still, it's good. It's much better than the modern law system. I especially see it in my country, in Slovakia. Like, there's almost no punishment for thievery, and it's even lowered now. Like, you can steal from somebody something valuable, like up to 600 euros, and there's no punishment at all. It's just like a small offense, you know. So basically, you can steal like anything, and then even if they catch you, there's no punishment. But in Manusmriti, up to 600 euros. Yeah, it's like, you know, somebody steals your phone, so what, you know? You can't do anything because your phone is less than 600 euros, and you can't call for justice. It's not possible. But in the Arabian countries, they also have this Sharia law, which is also very strict. When you steal something, they cut off your hand. So you don't steal anymore. If you don't have hand, it's difficult to steal, isn't it? And Manusmriti, you can say it's less strict. For first theft, they cut off the finger. It's like a warning, you know. It hurts a lot. If somebody cuts your finger, it's a lot, you know. You remember this punishment. So for the first theft. For the second theft, they cut off your hand and your leg. So if you don't have a leg and a hand, it's even more difficult to steal. If you don't have a finger, people see it. They see you are a thief, you know. If you don't have a leg and hand, it's obvious. You are a big thief because you did it second time. First time didn't work for you. Second time they cut off your hand and leg. It's difficult to steal, you know. And still, if you do it, then there's capital punishment. Like they cut off the head. But I mean, it's strict, but it works because the thieves are immediately removed from the society, and it's like a warning for other thieves not to steal. So then, in Arabian countries, like my father, he was drilling oil in Iraq. He said, you can run the car with the key inside, open doors, nobody will take it. People are afraid of being punished in such a way. They cut off your hands. Like, the palaces were embroidered with gold. People will not steal it. Iraq was also a very opulent country. It is. It's just destroyed nowadays. But like my father said, they found some gold. You know, you dig the ground in Babylon, you find some gold there, like some golden jewelry. You know, it's amazing. But people are so afraid to steal anything from anybody because it's better that you work honestly and you can make some nice money. And then you don't have to steal, you know, the government supports you in that. Like in Libya, you know, this is also a very rich country in the past, during Gaddafi, that he would also support everybody. In some countries like Brunei, even nowadays, you don't have to even work there. They give you everything for free. Education, social system, medical care, they give you house for free, everything for free in Brunei. It's run by a Muslim king, the Sultan. You know, so you can see when people are following these universal laws of God, then the society is very prosperous, very rich, it's very opulent, and people, there is very low criminality rate. It can be used, It can be used based on Vaishnava principles, not based on the birth system, the jati, but on guna karma. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Your position in the society is based on your work and your qualities, guna and karma. Yeah, because this jati system, it was like when you combine two people, like if you combine two brahmanas, brahmana wife and brahmana husband, normally you should get like a brahmana child, like two same colors. If you mix two same colors, you can still have the same color. But if you start to mix other colors, other types of people, like you mix brahmana wife with kshatriya husband, then there's some different colors will appear that doesn't match the family. That's the jati system, It works, but not in the same way as they think today in today's Indian caste system. But we also have caste system here. You see the four castes are there in the society. You have the scientists, the doctors, the lawyers, the priests, the teachers. There's the brahmana class. Then you have the government, the kshatriya class, especially the royalty. They're still there in Europe, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Monaco. The royalty is still there. Some countries, they still maintain this monarchy, like England, Spain, Holland. I don't know much about Germany. And then you have the Vaishyas, the business class, the farmers, and then you have the Shudras, the artists, the soldiers, the police, the workers, the people who work on the field. So these four classes are still there. It's not being done scientifically. That's why the society is falling apart and it's not working very well. And the economy is going down because of this. Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
There was a question from the publicum, and there was a question in the publicum from the publicum in the beginning, online, and it was Hare Krishna. I have a small question. How should the government protect residents without investing money in the army? There are often situations in the world where there is one aggressor and one victim of aggression, such as the US and the Canada and Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah, that's also a very good point, very good question. It doesn't say that the government should not invest in military. It says it should invest in a huge military. That's the difference. The military and the police must be there and the society to maintain the order. It's important to have also the military. Also, it's good to have some military in the temple, because even nowadays, so many temples being attacked in Bangladesh. It's a Muslim country. I don't know if you've been there. I went there once for a preaching tour with one senior Mataji, and it's really a dangerous place for Vaishnavas. In some places, you can't wear tilak or dhoti and walk alone, because they would just beat you or maybe even kill you. And so many temples were attacked. So it's good to have some army, some military army, even in a temple. You can train some brahmacharis. It's very simple. It doesn't require huge expenses, just how to mix this Molotov cocktail. You know Molotov cocktail? It's very easy, You just mix oil with gasoline or petrol in 1-to-1 ratio. And some nice glass, you put some cloth to light it up, and then you can throw this around the temple, and people are scared of fire, When there's a mass attack of people on the temple, you throw it around, there's a fire, people are afraid of fire. And so you can train some brahmacharis, in how to mix Molotov cocktail, or how to fight with the sticks. And for the temple president is supposed to be like a kshatriya. He can learn how to shoot from this Kalashnikov, It's also very easy weapon to manipulate. It's like a child can do it, you know, Kalashnikov. And you can, if you shoot in the wind, people are also afraid of the sound of Kalashnikov, especially in Bangladesh. They know this weapon very well. If you shoot in the air, they're scared. They run away. You know, they don't attack the temple. It's much better than just to wait and chant and you know. Of course, we have to depend on Krishna, but it's also required to do something to protect the temple. Yes, Prabhu.
I mean, you may say, okay, you have to defend the temple, but how much can a bunch of kind of promontories defend the temple if a professional army, if we would face a Muslim attack, as soon you raise your weapon, it gives them legacy to use their weapons. So like Jesus said, you quoted Jesus in the beginning, you raise your weapon, you will be killed by the weapon.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if this let's make the temple into a military base. I understand the thought behind it, but I'm not so convinced by it.
Yeah, I know what you say. It's a good point what you say. Of course, the temple should be based on Brahminical culture, and here in Germany, you still have the protection from police and from the government. But there in Bangladesh, there's no government protection for the temples. So the devotees, they have to do it themselves. And it's better to be killed in the service of protecting the temple than be killed in the not protecting the temple, you know. Because they'll kill you anyway, so you have a choice. Either you protect the temple, you die in the service of Krishna, like Krishna will be pleased and he will reward you for doing that. Or they'll kill you for not trying to do that, you know. They still kill you, so you have to die, but you can choose your death, you know. And of course, it shouldn't be like a military base, but sometimes it's needed, you know. Some temples, devotees are armed, like in Mayapur. You know the story about Mayapur, like how the Muslims attacked. And these Bangladesh people, they are not armed. They just have sticks. And it doesn't require much, just a few bottles of Molotov cocktail. You throw it around in the four corners, the fire scares people a lot, you know. And the temple president can have just one Kalashnikov weapon in Bangladesh. And it's like, the shooting, they listen to it. In Pakistan and Bangladesh, they know this weapon very well. For them, it's like a national symbol, you know. You can buy it cheap, cost few rupees. They make it on the street. And still, then you have to ask for the protection from the government. At least you show like you are determined to protect the temple. Because then they see us as we are weak. We are meek and weak, and we don't really are brave enough to protect ourselves. But people, if they see you can protect yourself and you are brave, they respect that. So they may change their attitude. You know, if you show some power, some strength, then they actually respect that very much. Some societies, you know, they respect that. Well, it's very difficult, you know, in Bangladesh. And we can see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how he reacted when the Qazi, when his soldiers broke the mridangas, how he reacted, you know. It's like he made like a public upheaval with the Harinam, but they are like, it was serious, like kill Qazi, you know, like shouting in the street, kill Qazi, you know, going with torches. It wasn't like just, you know, Hare Krishna, Hare nicely, but kill Qazi, you know, kill the soldiers. They're like, really, they're fighting mood, and millions of devotees going together with these torchlights. This really created like a powerful message for the government, and Qazi, he changed, you know. Then some beards got burned of the Muslims. They changed their attitude, you know. Then he gave them protection and permission. Okay, you can do Harinam, and nobody should stop you. So the show of power it's necessary, you know.
Well, actually, it wasn't Singadev who stopped it because he scratched. Yeah, that's a good point. They say there's a saying that if you help
You help yourself, God helps you also. You know that saying? You help yourself, the God will help you. Of course, if you are alone at the temple, you can't do much in the regards of protection if some big army attacks, but there are different instances how devotees will protect themselves or the society. There's one king, he's doing puja for Jagannath, and the army attacked, and he was just continuing doing puja. And Lord Jagannath, he took himself the form of this king, and he went to protect the society with the army against the attack. And the king is still doing puja. I didn't know what's happening, you know. You know this story?
Yeah, but this means continue your puja.
Does it mean?
It means continue your puja.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the Singadesh will take care of the
Yeah,
rest.
yeah.
That's opposite than saying you stop the puja, take Kalashnikov.
Yeah, this is actually,
Set the bell, take Kalashnikov.
this is the highest degree of martial arts, that you do the puja and God fights for you in your name. You just do puja, and it's the highest. And only like pure devotees can do that. There's only few instances of in the Vedas of such a cases that happen. But for us, if you're not on that platform, that Krishna will fight for us, you know, then we have to also do some work. Yeah, some questions, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I mean, the Bhagavad Gita has also spoken to Arjuna that he fights, no?
Yeah, very good point. He was Kshatriya, you know.
Because he's
Kshatriya.
because this statement comes always on the street, why is this a book where war is propagated? You know, I always tell
Yeah.
the people, if Arjuna would be a baker man, then Krishna would convince him to stop making bread. You know, it's not that Bhagavad Gita said you should go to war.
No, it's about protection.
No, but it was necessary at that point, that what was Prabhu explaining before, then all this gifting and sweet words and all of that made no sense anymore. And then obviously there's some kind of position in the civilization of warriors whose duty is to protect the whole.
Yes, but for this you need qualify. I mean, you need kshatriyas.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
both are right, actually. Both what you say is true. It's just how to find the conclusion. It's like in Bangladesh, of course, this diplomacy should be applied there immediately. Sweet words and some bribery for the government to get the protection, because there are no kshatriyas among the devotees to protect the Vaishnava society. So this is necessary. And what you say is true. When all the diplomacy failed, then the war is necessary. And it's not easy in Kali Yuga. It's not easy because we have lost the good qualities. We have also lost the kshatriyas, and there's no like official education for kshatriyas in ISKCON even. So it's difficult to get them, you know, to get some kshatriya for protection. But I've seen some devotee kshatriyas walking around. They may not even know they're kshatriyas, but they're still there, and they're waiting like in a sleeping state of mind. They don't know it, but they are waiting to be awakened. Maybe Krishna is having some plan we don't know yet for the future. But it takes time. It's just how many is more than 50 years till from establishment of ISKCON in the Western countries. So it takes time to understand this and to rise the kshatriyas, the new generations, and understanding that the temple also has to be protected, not just the government and the police, but also some devotees. They also have to learn these martial arts. Not all, but some few can do. It doesn't require much. It's just the knowledge is necessary. The knowledge how to use the martial arts in a proper way. Like there's one story of Srila Prabhupada preaching in Australia. He was actually attacked by the Christians. They wanted to kill him there. He got one devotee, he was a bodyguard. He was professional bodyguard, but he was also bodyguard of Srila Prabhupada. And devotees would get beaten in Australia on Harinam. And this devotee is asking Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, should we learn martial arts to protect ourselves on the Harinam? We could beat it. He said, just tolerate, you know. Then again he reported, will we beat it again? He said, tolerate. And then he asked again. Then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you can learn some martial arts. So they started to train martial arts, and they would keep like 4 brahmacharis on the 4 corners of the Harinam, and whenever somebody would attack, they already trained, so they beat the person, you know. And then it was like they gained respect. And this devotee bodyguard, he made a weapon to protect Srila Prabhupada because the Christians tried to kill him. There were a few instances they tried to kill him. So he presented this gun to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada appreciated, you know, that it's a good thing to have for protection in case. But of course, it's not the main the duty. It's the first duty is to be Krishna conscious. This nitya is the eternal duty, and this naimitic secondary duties. They are there to protect the material body, to maintain the soul and body together. Probably behind you got a question. Before you, then you can ask.
Yeah, there are some instances with Harinam. I heard some stories as well. And there was one story, there was one guy, he was going in a temple and wanted to push the deities down. And the puchari was just coming and seeing it, and I think he was taking the club from the deities and smashing this guy out. So
yeah, there are a few occasions like that. There was also, I heard something from America, there was some argument, devotees with some gang or somebody, I don't know, maybe even the Hells Angels, the like argument. And this small devotee from the kitchen was like a cook. He came with this big spoon, you know, and he started to shout something on, I think he started to shout the Narasimha praise. Namaste, Narasimha, with this big spoon. And this guy, immediately they got scared away. They thought this small guy with the big spoon is like really with this powerful prayer, you know. It really scared them away. They just, it was over, you know, it was solved, you know. So some power is also required to show this, Prabhu.
I was, you know, just the point you were saying, you know, the pujaris and the mainly brahmanas that are, you know, in the temple. And so, what I mean, the question would be, isn't this so, like, if in cases, you know, the brahmanas can take the positions maybe of kshatriyas or vaishyas, you know, not lower than that. So if in, I don't know, emergency situation, let's say, so the brahmana should be, according to, you know, he should be so powerful that he has mantras, just as you said, no? I mean, is this possible that actually the brahmanas become so powerful that, okay, there is some, I don't know, some emergency.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they become kshatriyas, you know, they transform like all kinds of movies and so on, you know. He's just doing his job, and then when it's needed, then he transforms. He's just chanting some mantras, or I don't know. He becomes.
Yeah, like
is this
Parashuram.
This not possible.
He took the. Huh? Which one?
Dronacharya, exactly. Dronacharya.
Dronacharya or Kripacharya. They all took that position of like a Kshatriya guru. They teach the Kshatriyas. They still maintain like the Brahminical position, but they took that some duties of Kshatriya also for the fight. We have to finish. It's an interesting discussion, you know. Yeah, and this is the tolerance. It's one story I wanted to just say, but I didn't, about Kripacharya, about the Pandavas. When the war was over, Kripacharya, he was one of the last few surviving Kauravas, you can say, from the opposing army. And he was also there, Kripacharya, when the Ashwatthama was burning, was killing everybody in the Pandavas camp. That was the last night of the this Kurukshetra war. He was there to kill anybody who tried to escape. So basically Ashwatthama just kill anybody who was there. He got this special blessing and weapon. I think it was a sword from Lord Shiva to kill anybody there. And yet the Pandavas, after the war, they asked Kripacharya to teach Maharaj Parikshit. Can you imagine? At one point he was like their enemy, but still he's like a family guru, and they asked him to train and to educate small Parikshit. That's the power of tolerance, forgiveness, humbleness, and also maintaining the relationship, the family relationship. You know, this is the power of for Kshatriyas. And 1 minute they can fight, another minute they are like the best friends. You know, it's difficult to understand, isn't it? Like you imagine you fight somebody for life and death. Like Krishna asked Bhima to fight with Jarasandha. Jarasandha, they're fighting for how many, 21 days or something? Every day, whole day fighting. I mean, they would have like morning program, some prasadam together, then they would fight whole day, like a sport. And in the evening again, some program, some theater, dance, some nice food, you know, some like, they would talk like good friends in the evening. Then during the day they would fight for life and death, you know, and it's difficult to understand. But that's how Kshatriyas, that's how they work, that's how they are, that's their nature. Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful example, like the Pandavas, they made Kripacharya their family guru after the war. They forgave everything. I didn't see didn't find any offense in him. So thank you for listening. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.